Coming up on 5 Minute News. Arkansas governor signs near total abortion ban into law. Quarter of women and girls have been abused by a partner, says WHO. And US urged to cut 50% of emissions by 2030. It's Wednesday, March 10. I'm Anthony Davis. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson on Tuesday signed into law legislation banning nearly all abortions in the state, a sweeping measure that supporters hope will force the U.S. Supreme Court to revisit its landmark Roe v. Wade decision, but opponents vow to block before it takes effect later this year. The Republican governor had expressed reservations about the bill, which only allows the procedure to save the life of the mother and does not provide exceptions for those impregnated in an act of rape or incest. Arkansas is one of at least 14 states where legislators have proposed outright abortion bans this year. Hutchinson said he was signing the bill because of its overwhelming legislative support and my sincere and long-held pro-life convictions. The bans were pushed by Republicans who want to force the U.S. Supreme Court to revisit its 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, legalizing abortion nationwide. Conservatives believe the court is more open to striking down the decision following former President Donald Trump's 3 appointments to the court. We must abolish abortion in this nation just as we abolished slavery in the 19th century. All lives matter, Republican Senator Jason Rappert, the bill's sponsor, said in a statement. The legislation won't take effect until 90 days after the majority Republican legislature adjourns this year's session. Abortion rights supporters say they plan to challenge the ban in court before then. The American Civil Liberties Union of Arkansas called the ban cruel and unconstitutional. 1 in 4 women and girls around the world have been physically or sexually assaulted by a husband or male partner, according to the largest study yet on the prevalence of violence against women. The report, conducted by the World Health Organization and UN partners, found that domestic violence started young, with a quarter of 15 to 19-year-old girls and young women estimated to have been abused at least once in their lives. The highest rates were found to be among 30 to 39-year-olds. When figures for non-partner violence are included, the WHO estimates that about a third of women aged 15 or older, between 736 million and 852 million, will experience some form of sexual or physical violence in their lifetime. Last year, the UN predicted at least 15 million extra cases of domestic violence around the world as a result of coronavirus restrictions. The WHO report focused on physical and sexual violence, but noted that actual rates would be far higher if other types of abuse were included, such as online violence and sexual harassment. Levels of violence were higher in low- and middle-income countries. South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa had some of the highest rates of intimate partner violence among women and girls aged 15 to 49. The lowest rates of violence were found in southern and eastern Europe and central and eastern Asia. The US needs to commit to slashing its planet heating emissions by at least half by the end of the decade to address the climate crisis and spur other countries to greater action, a coalition of American environmental groups has urged. Joe Biden's administration is set to unveil a new national emissions reduction target at a climate meeting it has convened with other major economic powers on Earth Day, the 22nd of April, which it hopes will galvanize countries that are currently dangerously lagging in efforts to stave off disastrous climate change. A motley selection of environmental groups and leaders have said the US goal must be no lower than a 50% cut in its greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 based on 2005 levels. This will, the groups argue, put America on track to meet Biden's aspiration of net zero emissions by 2050, as well as provide a major push to countries and businesses that were bereft of American climate leadership during Donald Trump's presidency. The international credibility of the world's second-largest carbon polluter was severely damaged during the Trump administration, when the US pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement and dismantled various rules aimed to reduce emissions. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.